Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, checking in on the MJ sector. As I talked about yesterday, today was a selling day for me, so sold the CGC open in the 2350s and currently back to mostly cash in my account, patiently waiting for a clear setup as we have consolidation underway. The S&P 500 had a big green day today, but the MJ sector had used up most of its gains, and again, the biggest reason to be looking for daily lower highs, we are in downtrends and we have bounced 10 to 20% in the sector over 2 days. And now we're in consolidation mode. So looking at on the 4-hour time frame, this CGC consolidation, and let's just take away the extended hours to make it a bit more clear, there's no red flags on this pullback. The only red flags is the market, or I should say the trend that we are coming from. So if we're going to see follow through on this bounce, which is still possible, inverse head and shoulders pattern would be needed where we top out, form a higher low, and then see continuation. So the bulls can put a bit of pressure on the bears because you better believe a bunch of bears entered today if we see a strong Monday. So a strong Monday is key. If the sector is red on Monday, it's back to same old, and we can absolutely head back to our recent lows. If we see a green day in the sector on Monday, we'll have 4-hour higher lows established, and we'll be looking for the bulls to try and see their continuation move to see higher highs on this bounce. So the rest of the technical analysis for most names that fit that same pattern, all doing the same thing. The only difference is the variance from the low to the high as far as the percentage distance. And now from where we closed today to the low of the pullback, how much space we have left before dropping to a lower low. So just comparatively, if we've got Cron, 7% and we're at a lower low. CGC needs over 10%. For us to be at a lower low. So again, there's differences, but the setup is the same. The 4-hour time frame, trying for a higher low on Cron as well, perhaps pulling back a bit more than it has on CGC. But if we see a green Monday and can break the high of today, we will have a 4-hour trend change and we will have bounce follow through. If we don't, we're heading back to the lows. ACB is the same thing. It's one of the biggest bouncers as far as percentage goes. How much of a pullback before we drop to a lower low? That's going to be a whopping 13, 14%. So bulls have the most space to work with. Daily exponential resistance, topping all these moves out. Everybody out of the major names is forming some lower highs, and we're watching the 4-hour time frame and this consolidation. APHA, same thing. It's one of the weaker bounces. Percentage until we drop back down to a lower low is about 9 or 10%. So it's in line with CGC. Cron's a little bit weaker at this point. ACB is stronger, but all very similar. Tilray is a potential daily bear flag. Very weak bounce attempt. Percentage distance needed to drop back down to a lower low. Certainly not significant in any way. It's probably one of the weakest bounces as well, and the bears still have complete control. VFF, same thing. We did break some resistance on this move, but rejecting from daily exponential. We look at the 4-hour time frame, consolidating a little bit into the end of the day. Bulls need a break of 949 on Monday. Can possibly see continuation. Something else to be aware of, the S&P 500. So watch that market video because the market is giving us what we anticipated as the most likely scenario over the last few weeks, and that's a weekly equilibrium. If it breaks bullish, we look to all-time highs. If we breaks bearish, we're in a weekly downtrend for the first time in 10 months. That's going to have an impact on this sector as well, depending on how that breaks. T-God coming off the all-time low. It's a daily lower high. It's a bear flag at this point. Declining volume, no follow-through for the bulls, and we're looking back down at 173 support. Bulls have to see follow-through and completely turn things around, but this is also one of the weaker bounces out of all these names that we're looking at. Hexo just had news after hours. Their CFO is stepping down. Solid bounce, just looking for a lower high compared to 434. And looking at after hours, what's their reaction? Looks like we are pulling back after hours. The low of consolidation was 396. We're trading, actually I take that, yep, that's after hours. So we're trading down there near the low of consolidation. And if we do pull back further, we will look for a daily higher low because again, size of the bounce, How much percentage do we have to work with? 13%. So Hexo is in line with ACB as one of the strongest bounces, having more space to work with to form that daily higher low. OGI, bear flag on the daily. It stood out yesterday as one of the weakest names. It's standing out again today. We're looking right back down at the low of 328. Bulls proving absolutely nothing on OGI to us. VGW, also one of the bounce leaders, also has a lot of percentage for space to work with. Also topping out, we're looking for a higher low compared to 273, and our resistance is 338. Labs, same thing, solid bounce. Daily lower high is set, and we're looking to see if the bulls can hold 310 to form a higher low. Short-term resistance is 447, and we'll wrap it up with KHRN, which is also correlated, and we are looking for a daily higher low to form if we cannot break the high of today. So, as you can tell, when things are this correlated, you look at one name, the sector leader, CGC, you do your technical analysis, you know the setup, you know what you're looking at, and then every single name that we just looked at is essentially the same setup with small differences. The amount of space left to work with, that's pretty much the only difference. How much did we bounce? How far are we above our low? The way that Monday is going to go is we're either going to break the low of today and increase the odds significantly that our temporary tops are set and we have to pull back for daily higher lows, or if we can hold the low of today and break the high of today, that's that 4-hour trend change, best case scenario for the bulls, to be looking for this bounce to not have topped out yet. In my opinion, with where the S&P 500 is lined up as well, if I were forced to bet, which I'm not because I'm all cash and I can patiently wait until the odds are in my favor on a bet that I want to make, but I would be betting that we're likely to pull back a little bit more and see a bit more further consolidation, because if SPY were to pull back, we're just going to be looking for that to only add any downward pressure to the sector as a whole. Sector's been doing its own thing to a certain degree, disregarding SPY in both directions the last few days, but it's still a general overhang that I definitely factor in to my analysis. So we'll see what we get. Establish your game plan, and we'll see if we can change the daily trend. If bulls do not change the daily trend, you better believe we're looking back down at recent lows. I appreciate you watching. Have a good rest of your weekend. We will check back in on Monday and see how it played out. I'll do the USMJ video either tonight or tomorrow, and we'll take it from there. So the end of video content for the next week or so is going to be from my recent trip up to New England, and it's going to start off here in New Hampshire. It's really cool to go back to places that I grew up going to. My dad used to take us camping back when I was 6 years old, so 25 years ago, going back to the same places. And that's really where my love for nature was sparked as a little kid, and being, blown away by wonderment of huge rocks and these cool boardwalks going through caves and things, which you'll see. But that was a whole bunch of nostalgia this past week, and was able to meet up with a bunch of friends that I went through grade school with that I still keep in touch with, and some family. So all good fun stuff. The leaves were just starting to change, missed it probably by about a week or two, but that let us have a little bit of solitude, because you better believe that that area gets flooded with leaf tourists right now, pretty much through October. And this one area that we went at about 9 or 10 in the morning, and we were the only people there. So definitely worth the payoff to not have the full-blown foliage, but to experience it and be able to do so with a little bit of solitude.